My beloved child, breathe with me for a moment, because what I am about to tell you is something your heart has been waiting to hear for a very long time. The wait is over. Not tomorrow, not in some distant, uncertain future, but now, in this very season of your life. Your soulmate is already moving toward you. I know this may be difficult to believe, my beloved child, especially if you've waited long enough to feel forgotten, but I need you to trust me, just for the next few minutes, and let's walk through this together. The season that is ending. Every long wait, my beloved child, eventually reaches its final season. You may not have noticed it yet, but something in your life has been quietly shifting, old patterns loosening their grip, old disappointments beginning to feel more like distant memories than present pain. This is what it feels like, right before a long wait comes to its end. Not a dramatic, overnight transformation, but a slow, steady softening, as though the universe itself is exhaling alongside you. If you felt this shift recently, my beloved child, even in ways too subtle to fully explain, know that this is not your imagination. It is the closing of one chapter, and the quiet opening of the next. Why the wait felt so long? I want to acknowledge something honestly, my beloved child, before we go any further. The wait has not been easy. There were nights you wondered if love had simply passed you by, moments of comparing your journey to others who seemed to find their person so effortlessly, seasons where hope felt more like exhaustion than excitement. This waiting was not punishment, my beloved child, and it was never a reflection of your worth. It was preparation, quiet, invisible, necessary preparation, clearing space within you for a love strong enough to finally last. Every long wait carries its own kind of sacred purpose. And yours, my beloved child, is no exception. The movement already happening. Right now, my beloved child, somewhere in this world, your soulmate is already in motion. Perhaps they've recently made a decision that will eventually place them in your path, a new job, a new city, a new circle of friends. Perhaps they've been doing their own quiet inner work, healing old wounds, releasing old fears, becoming ready to receive a love as real and deep as the one you're hoping for. Perhaps, even now, they are thinking of you, without knowing your name yet, simply sensing, in a quiet corner of their heart, that someone significant is coming soon. This movement, my beloved child, is not something you need to force or orchestrate, it is already unfolding, step by step, exactly as it needs to. Signs the wait is ending. How can you tell, my beloved child, that this long season of waiting is finally drawing to a close? There are often gentle, unmistakable signs. A sudden sense of peace replaces anxious longing, even without concrete evidence, you simply feel calmer, more settled, more at ease with not knowing exactly when or how. Old wounds that once felt overwhelming begin to soften, forgiveness comes more easily, past heartbreaks lose their grip on your present emotions. You find yourself drawn to new places, new activities, new circles of people, an unexplainable pull toward change, toward expansion, toward stepping outside your usual patterns. Synchronicities increase, repeating numbers, meaningful coincidences, dreams that feel more like memories than imagination. If you recognize any of these signs in your own life recently, my beloved child, take heart, they are gentle confirmations that your season of waiting is nearing its close. The difference between waiting and wasting time. I want to offer you an important distinction, my beloved child, one that can transform how you experience these final days of waiting. Waiting is not the same as wasting time. Waiting, when embraced consciously, becomes an active period of growth, healing, and preparation. you are not standing still, my beloved child, you are quietly becoming the person capable of receiving and sustaining the love that is coming. Wasting time, by contrast, happens when we allow bitterness, comparison, or hopelessness to consume our waiting period, leaving us diminished rather than prepared. You have a choice, right now, in how you spend these final moments before your soulmate arrives. Choose growth over bitterness, hope over despair, presence over anxious waiting. What your soulmate is feeling right now. While you have been waiting, my beloved child, your soulmate has likely been experiencing a parallel journey. They, too, have wondered when love would finally find them. They, too, have felt moments of doubt, comparison, and quiet exhaustion. But lately, something has been shifting for them as well. A renewed sense of hope they can't quite explain, a lightness returning to their days, an unexplainable feeling that something significant is approaching. This mirrored experience, my beloved child, is not coincidental. True soulmate connections often move in resonance with one another, even across distance, even before physical meeting takes place. As your own waiting draws to its close, so too does theirs. The final preparations. Just as a house is prepared before a long-awaited guest arrives, my beloved child, so too is your life currently being prepared for the arrival of your soulmate. Old relationships that no longer serve you may be quietly falling away, clearing space for someone new. Your daily routines, your circle of friends, even your physical environment may be shifting in ways that seem unrelated to love, yet are quietly aligning you with new opportunities for connection. These changes, my beloved child, are not random disruptions. They are the final preparations, the last pieces being arranged, before the moment you've been waiting for finally arrives. Trust these shifts, even when their purpose isn't immediately clear. How to recognize them when they arrive. When your soulmate finally does appear, my beloved child, how will you know? Here are a few gentle indicators many people describe. A strange, immediate sense of familiarity, as though you've known this person far longer than the short time you've actually spent together. A feeling of ease, rather than performance, you find yourself able to be fully authentic, without the usual anxiety of trying to impress or prove yourself. A quiet inner knowing, deeper than logical reasoning, a sense that says, this is different, this is significant, even before you fully understand why. Trust these feelings, my beloved child, when they arise. They are often more reliable guides than the mind's attempts to overanalyze every detail. The courage to remain open. As the wait draws closer to its end, my beloved child, I want to gently address something important. Sometimes, after a long period of waiting, we unconsciously build walls to protect ourselves from further disappointment. We tell ourselves it's safer to expect nothing, rather than risk hoping again. But here is the truth, my beloved child, remaining open, even after a long, difficult wait, requires real courage. It would be easier, in some ways, to close your heart completely, to numb yourself against the possibility of further disappointment. But closing your heart would also mean missing the very connection you've been waiting for, should it finally arrive while your walls remain up. Choose courage, my beloved child, choose to remain gently, cautiously open, even now, even after everything you've already endured. A guided moment of release. Let's pause together, my beloved child, for a quiet moment of release. Take a slow, deep breath in, and let it out gently. Silently, in your heart, say these words. I release my impatience. I release my fear of further disappointment. I trust that my soulmate is already moving toward me, and I welcome this connection into my life, in perfect timing. Sit with this feeling for a moment longer. Whatever lightness or emotion rose within you, trust it, my beloved child. What to do while you wait for the final moment? In these final days or weeks of waiting, my beloved child, here are a few gentle practices to hold on to. Continue investing in your own joy, your own passions, friendships, and personal growth. A fulfilled life is not something to pause while waiting for love, but something that makes you even more radiant when love finally arrives. Continue noticing the signs the universe places along your path. The numbers, the synchronicities, the unexplainable flickers of hope. Continue releasing old fears and disappointments, allowing yourself to enter this new connection with a lighter, more open heart. And most importantly, my beloved child, continue trusting, even without full certainty, that the same quiet forces guiding your soulmate toward you are also actively working on your behalf, even now. The beauty of a love worth waiting for. There is a particular kind of beauty, my beloved child, found only in a love that required real waiting. A love that arrives quickly, without struggle, without patience being tested, is beautiful in its own simple way. But a love that arrives after a long, meaningful wait carries a depth that easier stories simply cannot replicate. You will understand, in a way that only long waiting can teach, exactly how precious this connection truly is. You will not take it for granted, my beloved child. You will cherish it, fully, consciously, gratefully. This is the gift hidden within your waiting, not despite the difficulty, but because of it. When doubt tries to return. I want to speak honestly, my beloved child, about doubt, because it often tries to resurface right before a long wait finally comes to its end. You may find yourself thinking, what if this is just wishful thinking? What if the wait never actually ends? This doubt is natural, my beloved child, especially after a long journey of hoping. But consider this instead: doubt often intensifies right before breakthrough, not because the breakthrough isn't coming, but because our minds instinctively brace for further disappointment right at the edge of receiving what we've been waiting for. Let doubt visit, if it must, but do not let it convince you to abandon hope entirely, not now, not this close to the end of your waiting. The family already sensing this shift. Just as your own life has been quietly shifting, my beloved child, so too may the people closest to you have already begun sensing something is changing. A friend might comment, unprompted, "You seem different lately, lighter somehow." A family member might say, "I have a feeling something good is coming for you." These observations, my beloved child, are not simply kind words, they are quiet confirmations, from the people who know you best, that the season of waiting is beginning to shift into something new. The quiet confidence of almost arriving. There is a particular kind of confidence, my beloved child, that begins to settle in right before something long awaited finally arrives. Not loud, boastful confidence, but a quiet, steady assurance, a sense that regardless of the exact timing, the outcome is no longer in question. You may notice this quiet confidence beginning to grow within you, even amid remaining uncertainty about the specific details. This is not naivety, my beloved child, it is the natural result of a long journey of growth, healing, and trust finally reaching its culmination. Allow this quiet confidence to settle into you fully. It is one of the final signs that your season of waiting is truly, finally, coming to its close. Honoring the person you've become. Before we close, my beloved child, I want to honor something important. The person you are today is not the same person who began this journey of waiting. You have grown, healed, and deepened in ways that will make this coming connection richer, more stable, and more genuinely fulfilling than it could have been at an earlier point in your story. Take a moment, my beloved child, to acknowledge your own growth. The patience you've cultivated, the resilience you've built, the wisdom you've gathered through every difficult season of hoping and waiting. Your soulmate will not simply be meeting a person who waited, they will be meeting a person who grew, healed, and became ready, through every part of that waiting, and that, my beloved child, is a beautiful thing to finally, fully receive. The moment before the moment. There is often a distinct, almost sacred period, my beloved child, right before a long-awaited arrival, a moment before the moment. It is the pause after a long journey, before the final door opens, the stillness right before dawn breaks fully across the sky. You may find yourself, in these final days, feeling an unusual mix of anticipation and calm, eager for what's coming, yet strangely at peace with not knowing exactly when. This is a sacred threshold, my beloved child, honor it. Don't rush through it anxiously, but rather, savor this quiet, in-between space, for it will not last forever, and one day you may look back on it fondly, as the calm before the most beautiful chapter of your story began. What happens when you truly let go? Ironically, my beloved child, one of the most powerful things you can do in these final moments of waiting, is to truly let go. Not give up, not stop hoping, but release your tight grip on exactly how, when, and where this connection must unfold. When we hold on too tightly to a specific outcome, we often, without realizing it, close ourselves off to the many different ways love might actually choose to arrive. Letting go, my beloved child, does not mean losing hope, it means trusting so completely that you no longer need to control every detail of how that hope gets fulfilled. This release, counterintuitively, often precedes the exact breakthrough we've been waiting for. A message to your future self. Imagine, my beloved child, a version of yourself, standing just on the other side of this waiting period, finally united with your soulmate, looking back on this exact moment. What would that future version of you want to say, right now, to the you who is still waiting? Perhaps they would say, it was worth every difficult moment. Perhaps they would say, I promise you, it happens exactly when it's supposed to. Perhaps they would simply say, don't give up, you're closer than you think. Let this imagined message settle into your heart, my beloved child, because in many ways, it is not just imagination, it is a whisper from the very future you are quietly, patiently walking toward. The version of love you almost settled for. I want to speak honestly with you, my beloved child, about something many people rarely admit. Somewhere along this journey, you may have come close to settling, convincing yourself that a connection that felt good enough was really all you should expect. Perhaps you dated someone who was kind, but never quite matched the depth you secretly longed for. Perhaps you talked yourself into staying in something comfortable, simply because the alternative, more waiting, felt unbearable. I want you to know, my beloved child, that some part of you resisted settling, even when it would have been easier, and that resistance, that quiet refusal to accept less than what your soul truly desired, is exactly what has kept the path open for the real connection now approaching. Honor that part of yourself, the part that kept holding out, even when holding out felt lonely. The quiet work happening in you right now. Even as you watch this message, my beloved child, quiet work continues within you. Your nervous system, learning to trust safety again, after past hurts, your heart, slowly recalibrating its definition of what real love actually feels like, rather than what it merely looks like from the outside. This inner work rarely announces itself loudly, it happens in ordinary moments, choosing patience over panic, choosing self-compassion over self-criticism, choosing hope over cynicism, again and again, quietly, until it becomes second nature. By the time your soulmate arrives, my beloved child, this quiet inner work will already be part of the foundation your relationship stands on, even if neither of you can point to the exact moment it happened. How the ending of waiting actually feels. Many people imagine that the end of a long wait will feel like a dramatic, cinematic moment. Fireworks, sudden clarity, an unmistakable, undeniable sign. But often, my beloved child, it feels far quieter than that. It feels like an ordinary day, a conversation that unexpectedly deepens, a person who, for reasons you can't fully explain, simply feels different from everyone who came before. It is only in looking back, weeks or months later, that you recognize, oh, that was it, that was the moment the wait actually ended. Don't search for fireworks, my beloved child, watch instead for quiet, persistent ease, that is far more often the true sign that your waiting has reached its close. A blessing for the path ahead. As we near the very end of this message, my beloved child, I want to offer you something more than information. I want to offer you a blessing. May your remaining days of waiting be gentle, rather than heavy. May every sign, every synchronicity, every quiet flicker of hope remind you that you are not forgotten, not overlooked, not passed by. May you meet your soulmate not as a desperate ending to loneliness, but as a joyful continuation of a life you have already learned to love, even while waiting. And may the love that finally arrives be worth every single day you spent believing it eventually would. What to say to yourself on the hardest nights? Even now, my beloved child, as the wait draws closer to its end, there may still be difficult nights, moments where old doubts try to creep back in. On those nights, I want you to have something gentle to hold on to. Whisper to yourself, I have waited this long, and I can trust this final stretch too. Whisper, my soulmate is not lost, they are simply still arriving. Whisper, everything I have felt, every sign, every quiet hope, has not been for nothing. These words, my beloved child, are not empty comfort. They are anchors, gently reminding you, especially on the hardest nights, that the ending of this story has already been quietly written, even if you cannot yet read every page. The ordinary day it will happen. One day, my beloved child, and it may be closer than you think, you will wake up on a completely ordinary morning, no signs of anything unusual, no dramatic feeling that, today is the day. You will go about your routine, perhaps a little tired, perhaps distracted by everyday concerns, and somewhere within that ordinary day, without fanfare, without warning, the wait will simply, quietly, end. This is how so many soulmate stories actually begin, my beloved child, not with grand announcements, but with an unremarkable Tuesday that later becomes the most remembered day of an entire lifetime. So don't wait for the sky to announce it, don't wait for certainty to arrive before you allow yourself to hope. Simply continue living, fully and openly, and trust that the ordinary day carrying your extraordinary moment is already approaching, closer with every single day that passes. The people who will say, I told you so. There will likely be someone, my beloved child, in your life, a friend, a parent, a sibling, who has been quietly telling you, throughout your entire waiting period, don't worry, it's coming, I just know it. You may have smiled politely at their words, even while privately doubting them, perhaps even growing a little tired of hearing the same encouragement, over and over, without visible proof. But one day, my beloved child, that same person will get to say, with a warm, knowing smile, I told you so, and in that moment, you won't mind at all, you'll simply laugh, embrace them, and thank them for holding on to hope on your behalf, even during the seasons when your own hope felt thin. Let this thought comfort you now. Someone, somewhere, is already holding space for the version of your story that hasn't unfolded yet. what you will tell someone else someday. Consider this, my beloved child, one day, your own story of waiting will become the encouragement someone else desperately needs to hear. A friend, a younger sibling, perhaps even your own child one day, will sit across from you, discouraged, wondering if love will ever find them. And you, my beloved child, will be able to say, with quiet authority earned only through experience, I understand. I waited too. And I promise you, it happens exactly when it's supposed to. Your waiting, as difficult as it has been, is quietly preparing you to become someone else's proof that hope is worth holding on to. This is part of the larger purpose hidden within your own story. Many people describe something curious, my beloved child, about the very final stretch of waiting, right before their soulmate finally arrives. It often feels different from the rest of the journey, less like anxious anticipation, and more like a strange, settled calm, as though some part of you already senses the finish line, even before your conscious mind fully registers it. If your waiting has recently begun to feel less frantic, less desperate, more peaceful, even without a clear reason why, take this as an encouraging sign, my beloved child. The final stretch often announces itself not through excitement, but through unexpected stillness. As we come to the end of this message, my beloved child, I want you to carry this truth with you. The wait is over. Not because every detail has already unfolded, but because the season of prolonged, uncertain waiting has reached its final chapter. Your soulmate is already moving toward you, through circumstances, through inner healing, through quiet, invisible forces working on your behalf. Trust this moment, my beloved child. Trust the shift you've been feeling, trust that everything you've endured has been leading, all along, to exactly this. If this message touched your heart, like this video, comment what resonated with you most, and subscribe to Hidden Blessing Message for daily spiritual guidance, soulmate signs, and divine messages sent straight to your soul. Tell me, my beloved child, have you felt this shift recently, this quiet sense that your long wait is finally coming to an end? I read every comment, and I would love to hear your story. Until next time, stay open, stay hopeful, and trust that your soulmate is already on their way to you.